Look, at my age, you know I've been to a lot of doctors. Healthcare partners, they really care. They're concerned about your health. They're all the best. I am Roberta, and I am a healthcare partner. Visit hcpnv.com to hear my story.
Brought to you by Comfort Hospice Care, where we give our patients and their loved ones peace of mind, knowing we provide the highest quality of care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, call 751-0349.
Tonight on News 46, several people are injured in a double rollover accident. Muddy Rivers closed Highway 160 several times over the weekend, and the Beach Boys celebrate their 50-year anniversary. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Monique Mitchell. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell. News 46, local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013. I'm Monique Mitchell for News 46. Well, several people were critically injured as a result of a two-vehicle collision and double rollover which occurred on Highway US 95 near Highway 160 Sunday afternoon. Apparently, one of the sports utilities vehicles reportedly made a U-turn which caused the collision that required 3 helicopters and additional ambulances to respond.
Sunday around 3, we were dispatched as part of a mutual aid response for a report of a two-vehicle accident. Both vehicles overturned and a number of patients. I believe the number was up to 8 with 5 on the ground is the way it was described. So we went into our response mode. We sent a number of ambulances, our heavy rescue, and the chiefs. We found upon arrival that the Nevada, I know it's not the test site, but their fire department was operating on 95, and we reported to their command. We were given assignment for management of LZ and management of a number of patients who were injured in the accident.
So possible ejection from at least 5?
Yeah, I don't know if they were ejected or not. We don't know the mechanics of the injuries. I will tell you, though, that there were a number of people on the ground in different areas of the accident scene who were receiving some type of care, and our crews engaged, provided up to paramedic level. There was at least 2 of our ambulances were there, our heavy rescue, and again the chief's vehicle, and we managed the incoming of 3 medical helicopters taking 3 patients from the scene to trauma.
2 Mercy Air and 1 care flight, an additional helicopter brought in for the additional patient, and as well Nevada National Security Site helped with the ambulance and kept that patient in their ambulance waiting for the 3rd one to land.
And so I think it was either 5 or 6 were totally transported from the scene. Command had that actual number, and from his standpoint, it was a serious accident, and it was handled in an expedient manner, and the highway remained closed for a number of hours after that.
And some transported here locally to Desert View Hospital, or did they take US 95 over into Las Vegas Hospital?
It is my understanding that all patients went to trauma.
A former Nye County School District substitute administrative aide was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years in prison this week after she admitted to having sex with a 16-year-old student multiple times in 2012. Amanda McGough appeared in district court on a single charge of sexual conduct between certain employees of a school or volunteers at a school and a pupil, a Category C felony. Well, the Clark County Commission voted 6-1 this afternoon to approve a gas tax increase. Most in the audience were members of a labor's union, Local 872, who voiced their support for the tax increase to fund nearly 200 construction projects across the county. The Regional Transportation Commission has said the tax would help fund projects to keep up with the demand on Nevada roads. The gas tax has not been increased in almost 20 years. According to the Regional Transportation Commission, it will cost drivers 10 cents a day over the next 3 years. In November 2016, the tax will be on the ballot to renew the tax increase. Well, folks, keep it here because we're going to have more local news for you after this break.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Children's Dentistry of Pahrump, specializing in sedation dentistry, now accepting adult patients. Call now for free IV sedation with dental implant, 751-2184.
Welcome back to News 46. Another rollover accident occurred on Highway 160 yesterday morning. Nevada Highway Patrol Trooper Ray Hubbs says that the 4-year-old child in the accident was in a safety seat and that it saved her life.
Tonight's accident report is brought to you by Stovall & Associates. Don't expect insurance companies to have your best interest in mind. Stovall & Associates cares. Let us help you if you have been involved in an accident.
Monday morning, we were dispatched a report of a 2-vehicle accident, 1 vehicle overturned, a number of injured. Upon our arrival, Medic 5 found, in fact, that they had several injured and that they were self-extricated from the vehicle and were transported locally.
A dog was ejected from the vehicle. I know the family showed up on the scene to care for the animal. They were going to transport it to Las Vegas. Do you know if he survived?
I do not know if the dog survived, but I know it had some serious injuries that it's my understanding the dog was ejected during the rollover. However, I will tell you a success story is that the child was safely restrained in a car seat, and all the safety devices in the vehicle did their job.
There you go. Transported here locally?
That's correct.
And then the other person inside the vehicle claimed no injuries.
That's my understanding, that individual ambuled on the scene.
We had one gold vehicle traveling northbound on 160, and we had a red car traveling southbound. The gold car traveling northbound went off of the road, overcorrected, came across the other side on the east side of the highway, and then tried to gain the highway back and ended up hitting the red car in the rear driver's side portion, causing that vehicle to rotate and roll over.
And how many people in both vehicles?
Altogether with both vehicles, there is 3 occupants, 2 adults and 1 child, approximately 4 years old.
The 4-year-old child and the adults were transported, right?
That's correct. 1 adult and 1 child was transported. The other adult is no injuries here on scene.
Were they wearing safety belts?
Yes, everybody was wearing safety belts. There was also a dog in the vehicle that got ejected from the vehicle, and the 4-year-old was in a child safety seat, and that child may only have minor injuries due to the safety seat being used. It's my opinion in this crash here that the child safety seat did in fact save that child's life today.
The dog was ejected right away and has sustained some injuries. Is going to be tended to by family members?
Yes, the family is going to take the dog to a vet to have him checked out.
Major damage to these cars that we're seeing here.
Yes, extensive damage to both vehicles. Just my opinion at this point, looking at the vehicles, I don't think either one of them is going to be back out on the road.
The reason possibly for going off the roadway, do you know at this point?
That I don't 100% have a reasoning. I interviewed the driver, and she doesn't remember exactly what happened.
And give some tips on going off the roadway and coming back on and the overcorrection.
Yeah, anytime that you go off of the roadway, it's imperative that you don't just crank the wheels straight over. You can slowly, gradually come back up onto the roadway. It's the sudden jerks that actually change the platform of the vehicle, which changes the weight on the vehicle, and that could put you right into possibly rolling over.
And is there going to be a ticket in this case?
Yes, there will be a citation in this for fail to maintain travel lane.
Highway 160 was closed several times over this past weekend. The mud and debris drifted down Trout Canyon after the storms. The Muddy River is a result of the Carpenter 1 fire that occurred last month on Mount Charleston. Fire Chief Scott Lewis talks about the closure, which left some stranded for up to 5 hours.
Friday evening, we were dispatched for a report of a 1-vehicle rollover with entrapment. As we were en route, we received a phone call from one of our volunteers who happened to be on location, indicated that severe flooding, which included very thick mud, was traversing Highway 160 in both the north and southbound lanes. And the area in which he was, which was the accident scene closest to Tacoma Road, was impassable. And when we arrived in the area, we found that we were able to get further than mile marker 38 because of the conditions that were coming over from the north, or actually the east side of the roadway, over the northbound, over the guardrail system, and then subsequently over to southbound lanes and down through the desert. Significant amounts of mud, very thick, had tree branches, a lot of debris strewn. It covered a very large area and it made it impassable. So we were unable to get to the accident scene from our direction. We made subsequent notifications through Clark County Fire. They had additional resources come in from the south side, and they were running into the same situations. Regarding the accident, we found the vehicle to be unoccupied, but I believe it had been taken off the roadway. And so good outcome with regard to the accident, but motorists were trapped between the two sets of mudslides on the highway for hours.
This mud seems to be coming from the Trout Canyon area where the fire was, with the debris and black soot and all of the loose tree branches from that fire that we had.
Every indication is exactly right. Again, you had the tree branches, the color of the mud was consistent with the ash that had been coming down over the last several weeks. Not to this volume that we experienced. But very significant amounts, and the roadway had to be closed for a number of hours that evening and into the next day. It was a dangerous situation for so many different reasons. Number one, we weren't sure about the road integrity. The way it was cascading over on both sides, we weren't sure if the road had become undermined. Number two, when they were cleaning it up, like you mentioned, there was a residue left on the road surface that was extremely slick, especially with some of the rain we were experiencing later that next day on Saturday.
I heard that they're putting berms up in hopes to disperse the water coming from that more efficiently.
Well, we hope. Right now there's flash flood warnings that are posted through this evening, and so we're hoping that those berms will be able to hold the amount of debris that potentially could come down again if we get that precipitation.
Tell everybody why that it's important not to cross these water areas.
You know, it's been one of our biggest challenges, especially for those that have vehicles that set a little higher in four-wheel drive. Our main concern is that a lot of these cases, especially what we're experiencing up in the Kyle Canyon area, is the road surface is going away. You can't see that with the water. It appears that it would be a normal situation. You could just literally go through that. But in many cases, we're finding that the road is actually giving up. It's cracking, and there's holes being formed. And the water has been under such force with the mud, it's actually pushing vehicles off of the road surface. Once it gets onto the shoulder, there's no moving that vehicle. We make sure everybody.
You yourself were down there at Game Bird and Homestead on Saturday afternoon. When you see an emergency vehicle parked in the intersection with its lights on, people are passing you. Tell me what's going on with that.
Yeah, they were trying to get through in Homestead again, and you know, motorists have a set destination in mind, and they think that that's the route they know, that's the route they have to take. And it was one of those situations, again, a lot of debris coming across the road. The road was becoming apparently undermined on either side, on the shoulders, and it was significant volume on the road surface. And again, once we see that, we want to make sure everybody's safe. We don't want to get into what we experienced several weeks ago, where we had 23 swiftwater rescues for people stranded in their vehicles. Yeah, they should exercise every option available to them. Most of the time is turning around or taking an alternate route that may be immediately available to them. In this particular case on Homestead, it was a really easy remedy. It was just making a couple of left-hand turns and brought you further down where it was mostly unaffected.
Well, forced federal budget cuts are costing hundreds of science and medical research jobs. Nearly half of their recipients who get federal science funding say they've recently laid off or will lay off scientists and researchers because federal grants are tougher to win. The areas of research affected are for detecting bombs and nerve agents, medical researchers' jobs treating cancer, healing wounds, gastrointestinal problems, and HIV treatments. Some 1,440 of 3,165 scientists reported layoffs are imminent or have taken place at their laboratories because they couldn't renew federal grants. Well, folks, keep it here because right after this, we're going to have the Beach Boys, so keep it here.